Hello, everyone. It is Monday, September 28th. Yeah, 28th, 2020. And it is time for our Monday HR Moments. My name is Angela Hooper-Menifield, and I am the Chief Equipping Officer of Menifield and Associates. And so today, I wanted to talk a little bit about ways we as supervisors, business owners, leaders can motivate our employees and reward them, as we say, but also looking at it as a way to not only pay them, right? Because reward is so much more than just money. I apologize. I am trying to share this and I am doing a terrible job of it. So when we think about it, employees often want to be rewarded. And I think sometimes as business owners, again, as supervisors and leaders, what happens is we think the only way that people can be rewarded is through money. And that's really not the case, right? So in an organization, you have to look at it a few ways. One, there is monetary things we can do for our team to help them understand what it is that we value and appreciate. But there's also non-monetary ways that we can celebrate our team. And so in thinking through that, and recently having done some series of teachings on that particular subject within my on my radio show, it helped me to understand that a lot of people forget that there are some things that we can do non-monetarily. So of course, organizations and managers give awards and rewards, which are different, right? But also, what are some things we can do? And very seldom do we think about the fact that one of the ways that we can reward competence, good effort, dedication, people that are highly knowledgeable is allowing them an opportunity to grow and give them an opportunity to expand their growth. So what do we mean by that? Well, oftentimes that can be with delegating more responsibility to them. And so I want to approach this in a couple of ways because I know there are times when people get more responsibility that they're not always excited about it. And so as the business owner, again, supervisor, it's imperative upon us that we first make it clear what it is we're doing. So, I think you guys have heard me talk about this before, but, I'm a mentor to some mentees, and they're, young, early 20s, millennials, and they're awesome. And many of them are really advancing in their careers. Well, of late, one of them has had the responsibility, unbeknownst to her, that now that the supervisor leaves, they leave her in charge. Another one had something very tragic happen to their supervisor. Their supervisor actually passed away, and the supervisor gave them all this responsibility. So there's a couple of ways, employees can look at this, right? One way is, wow, like they really see my value. They see what I can bring to the table. And as a result, I have been given more responsibility. But managers and supervisors, I must caution you, right? Hey, Audrey, how are you? I must caution you, though, because oftentimes everybody doesn't feel that way. There is sometimes a feeling of, well, wait a minute. I have to do my job and the responsibility of my former supervisor or manage my peers and team members, and no other value is coming to me. Because people, and so the employees are guilty of it too, right? We immediately connect pay with the more responsibility, not understanding there's other value with being elevated and having things delegated. And so I think, again, it's incumbent upon us, whether we're the HR professional that's maybe having this discussion, or or it could be that, I'm sorry, I had a message from StreamYard that kind of threw me. Okay, or it could be that, like I said, we didn't explain it well. So for me, one of the things I always try to do is before I gave someone more responsibility, I help them to understand what this would look like in the long run. Like, is this a development opportunity? Does this have a beginning and an end? Is this an opportunity to help them develop a skill that they may be able to use later in their employment? Because unless, there's a saying like, what's in it for me, right? So unless the employee can see what's in it for them, oftentimes they walk away feeling as if they're being taken advantage of. And I know for a fact that as a supervisor manager, many of us are not looking to take advantage of people. We see their potential and we want to leverage that and we want to help them grow. But again, if the messaging isn't appropriate, isn't well thought out, and isn't explained, what we see as an opportunity and a vote of confidence can be misinterpreted as being taken for granted or taken advantage of. And so again, it's really important. And so then the other thing that and I know my sister's watching now, so she may remember, this story because it was actually funny, right? Like, there are times that when an employee has done really good work, that we over delegate or we overextend responsibility because we begin to see this person as the dependable one, the one who can take extra responsibility and get their work done and do these other things. And so the next thing we know, we've burnt them out. Like, they feel like we've turned them into like a workhorse, right? Like, every time they turn around, they get all the extra responsibility. So again, there will be some that'll stay, that'll weather the storm and ultimately have an opportunity to be elevated with all this new experience. But there are going to be others that are going to leave because they're thinking, wow, they're overworking me. They're not paying me enough. So we don't want that to happen. And it's easy to do and do so unintentionally. So an analogy that I will use is the fact that I remember when I was younger, having the responsibility. So my dad, wanted his shirts ironed. And so he would say, hey, well, my father called me Angie. Now that doesn't mean you can't, but I digress. So he'd say, hey, Angie, come iron my shirt. And I would iron it, and I took like my pride, and I was a little kid, like 8 years old or whatever. And so I would starch it and iron it up good, to the point that I would jokingly say, and I still say, that I can iron as good as the cleaners. Now, let me be clear. I iron very seldomly today, but I can iron. So there's a difference. And so I would do such a great job. Now, my sister, on the other hand, she ironed and she didn't do as hot a job. And again, I don't know if you remember this story, but I remember it vividly. And so because I did a good job, and now I believe I know she can iron and iron very well. Let's be really clear. I believe that she was smart enough to realize that if she didn't really knock it out of the park, like, my dad wasn't going to ask her again. And so it worked because I became the incumbent ironer, to the point that there were times that I got called out of bed and like, hey, iron my clothes, right? And then I grew to resent it because I was like, man, I was like, I should have done a bad job, because then he would quit asking me. Now, it's a funny story. I was 8, 9 years old when it started. It went on for years because I ironed for many years. But the point I'm making is this. Just like as a kid, I lived to have this season in my life where I was like, I don't know if it was such a great idea for me to be good at this, because now I am like the incumbent ironer. It's like, he was like, I'd rather let Angie iron my shirts than go to the cleaners, right? So who in our workplace is beginning to feel that way? Audrey says she remembered that. Thank you, Audrey. Don't make me think I'm crazy. I appreciate that. So but who's in the workplace, right? That's thinking like this 8-year-old kid was thinking. That's saying, yeah, I do a great job here. And now every time I turn around, my boss is giving me more work. And no benefit. Like, I didn't get no extra allowance. I was just the ironer. And so I knew it wasn't intentional. He saw that I could iron really well, and so he let me iron. And so my point is this. Somebody on your job, somebody who works for you, is feeling unappreciated, and you think you're doing them a favor. you think you're helping them, and that's really not the case in their mind. So this takes us back to why it's so important to have the critical conversation ahead of time and help the person see the long range goals. What's the big picture? What's the big picture here, right? Because if they can see how this can benefit them, again, what's in it for me, then it's a win-win. But again, so we want to do it right, but we do want to give people more responsibility. We want to delegate, and we want to show them that they matter, and it doesn't always have to be in money. So again, you can reward competence by delegating more responsibility and authority. Hey, Tommy, how are you? My sister says, I remember you used to put things together. Yes, I did. I've also been very handy with putting things together. Again, don't always like to do it, but I can. And that also became one of my responsibilities. Like when they would buy stuff, I would have to put it together. Ironically, it's still happening at 53. I was talking to my mom yesterday, and she was like, well, it could just wait till you get here. And I just laughed. I said, really? Like my husband was there and you could have let him put it together? But okay. But you're known for what you're known for, right? So anyway, supervisors, managers, leaders, be cognizant of other ways that we can reward people for being competent. However, let's also be careful and clear and make sure that they don't walk away from the experience feeling as if it's more of a punishment than it is a reward. Okay? So again, thank you guys for watching. You know, we do HR Moments every Monday, Wednesday, Friday here on our Facebook page, LinkedIn, as well as YouTube. Tell a friend, share it with someone. We always want to add value and help supervisors do a better job leading and managing their teams. Again, my name is Angela Hooper-Menifield of Menifield Associates. Our first podcast is dropping tomorrow, and that is titled The Pulse of HR, The Pulse, P-U-L-S-E of HR.com. You can get information about when episodes drop, but myself and my business partner, Robin K. Butler, and I are the HR practitioners discussing all things HR for both you as an HR professional and supervisors, especially in places where maybe you're not getting the HR support that you need, or maybe you're too small to have that. And so we want to be a resource for you. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on Wednesday. Take care. Bye.